we're back.
And our fronts. I've said that joke already this show, but I don't care. I'm sticking to it.
We're back in our fronts. This is our topic of the show. Bad game endings.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of publicity. Felicity. There's been a lot of felicity about Game of Thrones and people throwing up their arms and going, oh, it ended badly. Oh, here's a petition, rewrite it.
Here's a petition.
Here's a petition, rewrite it.
Oh, okay, we will.
Because I'm entitled in my own little bubble, and it didn't work out because, you know, the whole show's about subverting the hero's journey, and I actually had a discussion with someone.
Anyhow, let's not get into this.
Just very quickly, I had a discussion with someone on Twitter. Now, I quite earnestly said, look, if you had to write the ending to Game of Thrones, how would you like it to end? And this person said, I'd kind of like to,
Don't tell me, because I haven't watched it yet, and they'll know that doesn't happen.
Well, if you've watched it anyway, you know. But basically, he wants to see the good guys win. He wants to see, literally, the good knight slay the dragon and live happily ever after. Oh, yeah. And that was his idea of how Game of Thrones should end. Anyway, so Game of Thrones not sticking the landing. I thought, what games have been really, really awesome up until that final critical boss and ending and just blew it. Just didn't stick it, didn't land it.
I reckon we've nailed it with these as well.
All right, so we've gone 3 each. Dan, you've got 3, I've got 3. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. So my first one is the last boss in Final Fantasy X. Now, this was in my my favorite games of all time list that we did the other day.
Or month.
Yeah. But the end boss, so you fight in Final Fantasy, you put 95 hours in it, you fight all these monsters to get to this point, and then the end boss is a little tick in the middle of the screen. That you can't lose against, because you somehow get like a magic healing that continually goes over your characters. So it's just this long slog of hitting a tick that keeps healing itself, and you just have to keep hitting it. But you can't lose. And it's the most disappointing thing. It's actually religion.
What?
It's the Yevon is the religion in the game, and you're fighting Yevon, the manifestation of the religion, which is a tick.
Right.
It's so disappointing when you get to it. The fight just before this was awesome.
Right.
And they should have just cut it off there. It should have been the end, but they tacked this thing on there, and you're just like, nah, this is rubbo. So that's my number one.
All right.
Ben.
My third one, I'll say, is this game.
That was my third one.
No, not that one, Braden. We're going to mine, which is Mario Brothers 2. Now, spoiler alert for a 20-year-old game. You appeared to have cut this one early, Dan. Here's the ending. You finish the game. It's quite a hard game. You finish, you beat Wart, you beat him up, and then Mario wakes up and it was all a bad dream. That's the ending. It was all a bad dream.
I think, I was mentioning this earlier, I think they did this to because the game is vastly different from every other Super Mario game, and I think they did this just to keep the continuity of Mario, the look of it, because it looks different to a Mario game. It played different. And
Well,
I think
of course,
it's a hypothetical version of Mario.
We know that Mario 2 is Mario USA over in Japan because Nintendo thought that us Westerners wouldn't be able to handle the actual Mario 2, which was Lost Levels, which was basically the world's biggest troll game.
Which you can't handle, yeah.
So they reskinned a game called Doki Doki Panic. And if you look up Doki Doki Panic, it's the exact same image, Wart and everyone's there, but the main characters have been replaced with Mario, Toad, Princess, and all those lovable characters that have now found their way into our hearts.
Santo.
Like
I did like this ending, how it just goes through and shows you the names of all the characters you're fighting.
I hated it.
I loved it. Yeah, it's alright.
They got those names wrong way around. Ostro is the other one, and Birdo's that one. They messed up. You messed up, Nintendo of America.
Well, this is the Super Nintendo remake version.
Well, they messed up too. Everyone messed up. You're all a bunch of mess ups.
All right,
Dan, your game.
My next one is I'm going to do Borderlands.
Oh.
The end of Borderlands 1. They're going on about the Destroyer, the Destroyer of Worlds, this big Destroyer beast, and then you get to him at the end of the game, and he's just a big blob that has tentacles, which is a bullet sponge, that you just sit there and just lay into him. He's not hard. And it's just like, this is it. This is what I've been playing this game for hours and hours. They keep mentioning this Destroyer, and it's going to, end the world. He finally comes out, and he's just this guy that you can see on the screen. He's just a flat blob with some arms, and it's just, are you kidding me? Like, this game is so good up until this point, and then it's disappointing. it's just.
So is there any skill to it at all, or are you just pumping him full of bullets?
You can see what's happening.
That's
here.
it. That's the whole game. You're just shooting his eyeball.
Yeah, or just shooting him. I mean, bits more come out, and you do some dodging and hiding, but there were so many harder other fights in the game. Like, it's just, and he's just really strong. So he's just a bullet slung. You just have to just keep going. Your biggest enemy is running out of ammo, which I think they give you. Look out for that slow-moving tentacle. Oh dear. Anyhow, so this was such a great game, Borderlands. And then just the end guy was just such a disappointment. I was like, oh my god, this is like they phoned it in. It's the worst.
Right, so my next game is Ghosts and Goblins. Now, we can see here Arthur fighting Satan. And this is a really hard game. Like, you get 2 shots, and you defeat Satan, you think, yes! And then this message comes up, and it says, this room is an illusion, and it's a trap by Satan. Go back to the start and start again. So you play this whole game, where you get hit once and you lose your armor, get hit again, you're dead. The game itself goes for a good couple of hours, and you think, yes, I finally defeated it. You defeat Satan, and goes, oh no, this was just an illusion. You got to go back and do the whole game again. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
So they make you to play the game twice, but harder on the second time.
That is a rip-off. That's a blatant, like, you're jerks.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oof.
Dan, number 1.
So the one I think the most that annoyed me the most was Fallout 3, the ending. So you can see here the guy on the screen here. This is the guy who killed your dad, or I think it was killed your dad. You've been after him the whole game. You know, you've been like, who is this guy? You finally meet him, and then he basically, this is it, hit him once. He's dead. His head's fallen off. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So you go into this room in this giant armor. You know, you're basically a tank. And it's just a dude in there with no armor or anything, and you kill him, and that's the end.
Cool story.
I mean, there's a couple of enemies here around him, but like you can see here, they just fall over and die. And then you go in and you press a button, and then it's just a series of 5 still images with us like, and then the game ended.
Wow.
And that's like, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you kidding me? That's the end?
So much time in this game.
Yeah.
Oh, is this also the ending where, like, she has to sacrifice herself to go in and cop all the radiation, and there was an outcry, so Bethesda patched it, so, like, you can send in the robot instead of the living human?
I think you do send in the robot. No, you send in the... Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's boring. You can see here, even the footage here is boring. This is the end of the game, and I'm like...
Yeah, high-paced action-adventure.
To give it a bit more credit, though, there was a cool scene before this. Like, coming to this point, there was some action and adventure. But this is the end guy. The end guy was rubbish.
Yep. Speaking of the end guy being rubbish, is my number 1.
Also from Rye Guy in the chat.
Yep.
If you get the DLC, you survive no matter what, and the game continues.
Oh.
So get the DLC.
There you go. Get the DLC.
But I've finished it. There's nothing to do after the end.
Buy the ending.
Here's my number 1 pick, and I was very, very disappointed in this. It is, of course, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, the Beast Ganon fight. So the fight before this was really, really difficult. Well, not really difficult. It was challenging.
Yeah, it was
a good fight. Yeah. And then he transforms into Beast Ganon. You find yourself out in Hyrule Field with this big, big, dark beast Ganon, and you think, sweet, I'm gonna have to gallop around and chase him down and you know, go on a horse adventure with him and defeat him. But no, he just stands there and bright targets come out on his back and you just shoot him with an arrow.
Yeah, it's rubbish. And it's a thing that no one did in the game.
Yeah.
How often did you ride your horse and shoot stuff with an arrow?
Oh, well, a lot.
Did you?
Well, yeah.
I didn't.
But you can see that he doesn't move. He just sort of goes roar.
And you just kind of like, it's just a time, right? You just have to be back at the front of him at a certain point.
Yeah.
And then you shoot him in the face. And it's just like, oh my God, is this it?
Yeah.
So all the examples I've noticed that we're talking about here, these are games that should have ended before.
The previous boss.
Yeah. Like the Final Fantasy, this one, the Fallout one, like that, it should have, you know.
He's not even moving. He's just sort of there, kind of weirdly humping the ground.
It's like a tutorial on how to use your bow.
It is, yes. It's a tutorial for a main boss.
They did a consensus and they're like, what's the thing you use the least in the whole game? The bow. oh, okay, we'll have it. You have to use the bow. Basically, we'll train you how to use it on
How
the
good
last
would
guy.
have this been if Ganon was running around Hyrule, just around the
actual map?
Yeah, just running around, either chasing you down, like, oh, he did an attack, but you ran out of the way because you saw it coming a mile on.
This is like the Borderlands one. It's just a big bullet sponge just standing there waiting to get shot.
And what's more, you also get a completely OP weapon in the light arrows from Zelda, which take off like a fifth of his energy with each shot.
Yeah. You know what the hardest thing in this game was? The first boss I played was so hard.
Which one was it?
I don't know.
Was it the one in the camel? Because that's a hard one.
No, it was just one of them, and I wasn't powerful enough, but I persisted. This game's so hard. Yeah. Good
He's about to get a blood moon.
talk.
Ooh, I haven't watched this footage. Is that going to be a blood moon? And then he's going to replenish all his health? That'd be funny. Anyway, yeah. That's it. That's our 6 worst top games ending ever.
It's basically the worst boss.
Thing.